Mr. Speaker, maybe the Environment Minister doesn't realize that when the market imposes a fee, it's a cost, but when the government does it, it's a tax. And while carbon taxes may be lucrative sources of revenue for politicians, they don't actually do anything to reduce emissions. The Finance Minister and his cabinet colleagues are scheming to impose a carbon tax on the middle-class workers who make their living in the oil and gas sector. The Liberals see that the energy sector is hurting and they want to kick it while it's down. This cold-hearted plan will only delay the recovery. When will the Liberals stop their mean-spirited attack against the hard-working middle-class workers in the energy sector?
The Minister of Environment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We understand that the middle class is working hard. We also understand that we need to take action on climate change. We know that the lowest cost way of reducing emissions and tackling carbon pollution is by putting a price on it. But once again, let me go to Preston Manning. Conservatives profess to believe in markets, so why don't Conservatives major on how to harness markets to the environmental conversation and make it their signature contribution? Mark Cameron, former policy advisor to Prime Minister Stephen Harper. As most free market economists
The Honourable Minister knows that we don't refer to members in this House by their names, but by their titles. The Honourable Member for Regina Capel.
Speaker, only to a Liberal would increasing taxes result in lower costs. It makes no sense. But if they are so keen on helping the middle class, Premier Wall has an idea that will put Canadians back to work. Across the oil sector, like countless decommissioned oil and gas wells. Out-of-work Canadians in the energy sector have the skills to clean up these abandoned wells. This is a practical idea that will actually clean up the environment. So instead of raising taxes, will the Liberals adopt this common sense idea and help create jobs?
Minister of Environment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I had the pleasure to go to Saskatchewan, where I met with my counterpart, the Environment Minister there. We had a great discussion about how we could reduce emissions and we could tackle climate change working together. I went and visited carbon capture and storage and looking at new technologies. I talked to the agricultural sector about how they could reduce emissions. It seems that the only party that doesn't understand the need to reduce emissions is a party opposite.